Hi, I'm Carmen. I own a jewelry company in Lower East Side, New York, and I thought maybe you guys would like a tour of my jewelry bench. So what we've got going on here amongst the chaos is 4 separate projects. I'm currently making a 5mm ball chain to go with this molten dog tag that I've been working on, where I like set some diamonds in. I couldn't get end caps that were 5mm, so I had to make them, which sounds really simple, and it is, but it's rather time consuming. So I've just been working on making these like little technical parts. So I finished that project today. Someone also came in and purchased this silver signet ring, but this, I believe, is a size 6, whatever we had on the floor, 5 3/4, and they want it to be a 3.5. So I'm gonna have to cut it down, remove some material, and then resolder it together. These are 2 rings that just came back from our casting house. So those are currently in process to be finished. I have to remove some of the material on the inside, the sprues, toss them in the magnetic tumbler, then get to work on the finishing process. The white coating that you see is the investment from the casting process. That's gonna come right off when I drop it in the tumbler, or I could take it off by hand if I were so inclined. But you can see already where I've started to like sand the sprues down. That's the silver peeping through. Really excited. I just got this ingot mold in the mail, and I've been saving up a lot of scrap metal because silver's at an all-time high. So I'm trying to reduce, reuse, recycle. Here are like little bits. I don't know, this is not all of it, but just some things that I'm gonna melt down later today. I don't know, some faulty grills that we were playing with, and a hook that went awry. But anyway, I'm gonna melt it all down. I'm gonna in here with the torch, and then when it's molten, I'll pour it into the mold where it will harden, and then I'll put it through the rolling mill several times until it flattens into a piece of sheet metal like this that I can start to reuse. How are you?
How are you?
Good. Right, so the truth is I'm mostly self-taught, so I don't know like the formal technical names of a lot of the tools that I use on a daily basis, but you can come and take a look. Here we've got our rawhide hammer. I know that this is rawhide so that it doesn't damage the metal while you're using it to sort of resize and reshape. A mallet that I use for stamping are maker's marks over here and like the 925 symbols. Tools I use for engraving or for stone setting, pliers, straightening wire. Sometimes I'll use this bad boy to like start the curvature of a ring. See, make jump rings out of this one. All of our finishing tools in here. I swear it's organized chaos. 2 most important parts of the station are the flex shaft and the oxygen torch. So without this, we wouldn't be able to solder anything, melt anything down. Without this flex shaft, to finish a ring would take days to do it by hand. So this we use for anything from like drilling, sanding, any of these bits. We put it on this flex shaft and off we go. I use this drill bit to take off material when I'm making silver jewelry, but I could also use it to shave down in the cavity in your teeth. Fun fact, we use the exact same tools as dentists. I like to use 2 different kinds of flux. I like the flux paste, and then I also really like this self-pickling flux. It's not as effective, but when I dunk it in here afterwards, I don't have to use the pot of pickle. Wax, a little lube for my saw, cube of charcoal. So this is all used for soldering for the most part, firework. And then I use these titanium picks, soldering picks. I prefer these to the pliers. And this will pick up the solder, and we use it to put on the metal, then fuse the metal together. Burrs for drilling, again, it's mostly used for stone setting. I try not to use glue because that's like cheating, but you never know when you might need a little bit of glue. This is my beloved Otis, the elf on the shelf that I bought my son that was supposed to be the size of like a real elf on the shelf. I believe I paid like $45 for this little guy that showed up, but now he's like a little good luck charm. I don't know where baby rubber Jesus came from, but far be it for me to take little baby rubber Jesus off my desk. Fire extinguisher in case everything goes awry. Let's just hope it doesn't come to that. Some spoons. You never know when you're gonna need a little spoon. Some faulty grills. Some wax. Silver nuggets. Hi. And some shop inspectors coming through. So right here we have our rolling mill. We have our polisher. We have our ultrasonic cleaner. We have our pot of acid pickling kettle and drill press. For the polisher we used mostly 2 different types of compounds. We use rouge first, and then we use white diamond for a mirror finish. Sand off our fingertips. I've definitely sand off my manicure on many occasions. Because you'd get to a point in the process where you'd be like, oh, I want to take it to the next level. And you'd be like, how do I do that? You Google it, and then you'd see people using set tools, and then you'd click buy on Amazon, and it would appear 2 days later, and then we would have it. Like for the more specialized stuff, Rio Grande or Zach's tools in the Diamond District, thousands of dollars later, this is our humble jewelry making station, but it gets the job done.